Hello guys, my name's Ryan and welcome to Wrestle Realm, the ultimate destination for all things wrestling. We're going to dive into the high-flying action, get ready to rumble with our electrifying reactions and in-depth reviews, and a ringside seat to the most thrilling showdowns. Whether you're a die-hard fan or just a curious newcomer, join us on the journey through the world of professional wrestling. Don't miss a moment, subscribe now and become part of the Wrestle Realm community, where dreams and drama unfold and legends are made. Let's get into it. We're going to be talking about the Von Erichs, and are they a cursed family, or was it just bad luck for everybody involved? If you're a wrestling fan, or if you were a wrestling fan and you know about the Von Erich story, then you know what to expect coming into the Iron Claw movie, and that's what we're going to be reviewing today. You know that it's not going to be a feel-good movie, and it's every bit depressing as you would expect it to be. Outside of some bizarre casting choices and the decision to completely omit one of the brothers, which we will talk about in this video, I thought that the movie was really, really good, but I feel like it could have had a better standing in the wrestling community if it was maybe a mini-series over 8 or 10 episodes, and opposed to a standalone movie. But, you know, the runtime was over 2 hours, so I don't know if they'd have kept everything in that I would have been satisfied with, whether I would have been happy watching a 3.5 hour long movie about the Von Erichs, because 2 hours was depressing enough, but in the same sense, it was a very good story to be told in it, and it opens up some definite memories within my heart and within everything. So, yeah, guys, let's talk about this movie. Let's break it down and let's have a reaction. We are going to be joined by a very special guest this evening who's going to be joining me on a lot of these things. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome my guest. But first, we're going to play that cool little intro that I've got. Because why not? Welcome in, Charles from Reselling for Charity. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm super excited to get this off on the run. This is, you know, the first video of many. So thank you for joining me for this one. And I know you're going to be here for the long haul. So this is a great journey that we're starting. What story to start on, right? The Von Erichs.
What an amazing story. Patriarchs of the wrestling realm.
Oh yeah. Definitely, absolutely, definitely. So I know you're familiar with them, with the Von Erichs as the wrestling family. I know that your love for wrestling has kind of demolished a little bit as you've got older in life, but being friends with the Milster, it's kind of brought it all back again for you and stuff. So
yes,
you know. But were you a fan of the Von Erichs growing up and stuff?
Yeah, I love the Von Erichs, that genre, that time frame. As an early 80s, watcher of wrestling, I love the Von Erichs, Jimmy Superfly Snook. I do the off the top of the couch, get in trouble for it every day. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I love that era of wrestling, especially. That's probably my favorite era.
Yeah, no, I like it. And guys, I just want to be completely brutally honest with all of you guys. This video came about because Charles messaged me over on Instagram the other day and said he was just so happened to be watching Iron Claw the movie. I've already seen this movie a long time ago, especially when it came out around December time. It was a big thing for me. I definitely wanted to watch it. I've spoke highly of it before in the past on other channels and stuff like that. But yeah, Charles just said he was watching it and it sparked the brain, and we thought, why don't we get together and talk about it, because it's definitely something we can put on this channel. So I hope you guys like it. Please, if you do enjoy this kind of content and you want to see more from me and from Charles over at Reselling for Charity, then please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the links down below for Charles's channel as well, because they will all be down there. And if you have any comments on the Von Erichs, don't be afraid to share them down below, because that's what this is all about. You guys make comments, I can make videos reacting to them, I can reply to you guys. It's all a community. Like I said in the intro, I want you guys to join the community. So
yes,
it'd be great to have you.
Definitely.
Cool. So Iron Claw is the movie, Charles. How did you feel about it? I do have some extensive notes which I have shared with you, which we will go through.
Yes.
And people will be able to hear our voices and also see some accompanying images on screen, make it an easier watch, so you don't have to just stare at our two faces when this is a show about the Iron Claw, So I want to give you guys representation of what the Iron Claw is.
Exactly.
But long story short, what did you think of the movie?
I really liked it. I gave it a very high rating. There was a couple parts, and we'll talk about it, that could have been elaborated on a little bit more. Casting 90% spot on. There was a couple issues for me, straight up issues that arose, and you did put them in your notes, so you saw it too. But we'll talk about that. But very, very high rating for me. And I don't watch many movies, but when I do, it's got to be something I'm interested in. And I sat for the whole time, never got up, never left, never took my eyes off the TV, because, again, I grew up with the Von Erichs wrestling, watching them, and I wanted to see their story. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah, and it's a shame that you didn't get to see their whole story. That's all I'll say. Because there were definitely some important parts left out, I feel. But I'm glad that you still enjoyed it. And just to let the viewers know at home how we're going to score these kind of things that we do. This is a wrestling channel, so there's only really one way we can do it. And that's Dave Meltzer has the 5-star match, doesn't he? He gives these wrestlers the 5-star matches. So we're just going to go by the 5-star rule as well. But it's going to be for movies and breakdowns of pay-per-views and all that kind of stuff. So going forward, if we give it a 5-star, it's the best that it can be. If we give it a 1-star, it's the worst that it ever is. So stay tuned for our scores at the end of this, where we'll let you know what we think about Iron Claw. But yeah, I do have some extensive notes, as I say, so I will just bring them up. So my notes here. What did you think to my opening statement, Charles? How I mentioned that I would probably have liked to have seen this as a TV show, an 8 to 10 episode TV show. How could you have dealt with that? 30-minute, 40-minute episodes, maybe?
I agree with that, because I think if they did episodes, they could have explained a little bit more, and we'll talk about that again. They could have explained a little bit more, elaborated a little bit more on some issues, some things that I was like, huh? We could have seen a little bit more backstory on a couple issues, a couple things. I think it would have worked as probably maybe 6 episodes. Maybe 6 45-minute episodes or something like that, because they could have put just a little bit more in each episode, and we all know it's not really a 45-minute episode. It's like 32 with a recap and a preview for next week. So, they wouldn't have been much more than what the video was.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I have here in my notes, if you're a big wrestling fan and you know any of the key angles that are involved in, like with the Freebirds heel turn, which was really what set the territory on fire and turned the Von Erichs into rock stars, that was not in this movie. And I get they couldn't cover all of it because it really didn't have an overall importance to that storyline that they were trying to tell us. But that's why I made the statement about how it could have been a TV treatment. It could have got like you say, 6 to 8 episodes, because we could have seen those cool little callbacks to things that they did in wrestling history. Because I feel like that maybe would have taken some of the depressing things away as much, because it was such a hard-hitting movie all the way through it. You know what I mean?
I think that, and I think we could have started the video earlier in Fritz's life as well.
Yeah.
Does he turn into the type of father he is because that's what he was treated? What was his backstory? We never really find out what Fritz Von Erich's backstory is. If we would have found that out, that would have maybe explained some of his actions later in life. Maybe the way he treated the family, treated the boys. That could have been an episode or 2 right there, his life, and then bringing the Von Erich boys.
Kevin Von Erich is the main character of this movie, and they focus on him, and that was why the director included shots of him meeting his wife, him getting married and having kids. But he didn't do that for any of the other brothers, which is again why I say they could have fleshed out these characters a bit more, and we could have got to know the other brothers a bit more better. Because if you don't know, like I do know, David was married, Terry was married, Mike was married. David wasn't just married, he had a daughter with his first wife, and that child died from sudden instant death syndrome. So even more tragic to the story that wasn't included in the movie.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. It is really crazy. Kevin was played by Zac Efron. So to go from High School Musical to this is quite a leap. And I'm just going to come off my notes now and talk to you a little bit about that, because have you seen Zac Efron in anything? Have you seen High School Musical, first of all?
No.
Okay, interesting. I grew up on High School Musical. I must admit. I know all the words to all the songs. I'm not ashamed to say I like High School Musical. But that was a Disney Zac Efron that was very, very boy bandy, very make the girls' hearts throb kind of kid. And now seeing him portray this role in wrestling and a Von Erich of all, it was very, very different. And I must say, kudos to him and to the directing, casting choices and everything, because
yes,
wow, he really showed me how much he could act in this movie.
Yeah, that and wow, just he was built for sure for this movie. I told you in a message, I said he looks like the Incredible Hulk, you know, compared to what I normally see Zac Efron in Saturday Night Live or one of those little movies that he does. You know, I'm not a huge Zac Efron fan by any means, but he did a killer job in this one. Sure.
Yeah, I personally have sat here. I watched Iron Claw today just for research purposes for this live or this video, sorry. And I was sitting there while I was writing my notes, and I was like, "What else has he been in?" And I genuinely, for the love of me, cannot think of a single thing I've seen him in except for High School Musical.
Oh, there's been a couple. I couldn't.
Nothing notable, surely. Yeah, nothing mainstream notable.
Yeah, I couldn't name them off.
Definitely show. Well, the next one was Holt Maloney from the show Mindhunter plays Fritz Von Erich, and he stole the whole damn show for me. As far as the performances went, Zac Efron got super jacked for this role, and I know Kevin was in good shape in his prime, but I didn't know he was that much in shape. So I don't know if Zac Efron went a little bit too far with his physique portraying Kevin. Maybe not. You guys let me know in the comments whether you think differently.
I think so. I think they went a little far with the muscle-bound wrestler. The Von Erichs, not that they weren't in top physical shape, but I don't remember them being built like that. More of later on, we see David. He's not completely built, but he can still wrestle. That to me is what the Von Erichs look like. They didn't look like a muscle-bound gym rat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's why I wrote it down in my notes, because it was a bit jarring. I was like, I don't remember him ever being that big, but Zac Efron was like, wow, that's massive.
Yeah.
He was very, very big. Yes. Jeremy Allen White played Kerry, and he's a really good actor. But for me, and I'm a short guy, so this is going to sound funny, but for me, the actor who plays Kerry was Jeremy Allen White, as I just said, but he's only 5'7", and Kerry was known to be 6'2", maybe 6'3". So for me, he's not tall enough to be Kerry.
No.
And maybe Zac Efron would have played a better Kerry.
Probably. I don't know. I think whatever role he played, he was going to be the role. He was going to be the lead. Zac Efron. You're right. Kerry was much taller than the actor that portrayed him, for sure. Yeah.
I had some continuity issues with the show. Like, if you're somebody coming into this movie and you don't care about wrestling and you don't know about the Von Erichs, then I guess not knowing that he wasn't the right height at 6'2" probably wasn't going to bother you. I get that.
For the average movie watcher that just stumbles across the movie, watches it because, I like wrestling, I remember the Von Erichs, they're probably not going to remember that fact. Now, for someone that has studied wrestling like yourself and others in the community, you're going to realize that for sure, that he was not that short. But
definitely, like, one of the biggest liberties that they take for me in this show is we are shown Kerry winning the NWA World Heavyweight title from Ric Flair, and the same night they cut to a scene of him driving his motorcycle, which led to his accident, even though that didn't happen until 2 years after the match that we just see in the movie. So for anybody that didn't know, they would just think that he did that match and died that night, because it does come across that way.
It does.
But that never happened. It was 2 years later, and they don't talk about that in the movie. So it's kind of like they definitely take liberties within the movie in some senses, and that will be reflected in my score towards the end of this video. They also had Chavo Guerrero in this movie, and he's in a few scenes. He's a very famous wrestler. We all know Chavo Guerrero. I know he personally gave actors crash courses in training before they started filming, so that's pretty cool. And another mention, Gina Hernandez is portrayed in this movie a couple of times in brief roles, played by Ryan Nemeth. MJF is also in this movie. As many of you probably know, he plays the fake Von Erich cousin, Lance Von Erich, and has supposedly had most of his scene time cut from the movie. The only scene that he's in now is a non-speaking scene. Just imagine casting MJF, the biggest talker in AEW wrestling currently, in a non-speaking role in this movie. I just don't understand it. Like, I know maybe what he was doing with the stuff didn't fit the narrative of the story, but I just think it was a mishap not having MJF speak, because that man's golden on the mic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, did you notice MJF?
No, I did not. No.
Okay, yeah, he was the guy in the ring. They were doing the tag match with Kerry, and he was reluctant to tag in.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's actually a current MJF wrestler who's in AEW. You've heard me speak of him many times.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and then we are going to get into another role. Then we get to Ric Flair and Harley Race. Now, what can I say about this? Now, I have to say the person that portrayed Harley Race was absolutely fantastic. When I first saw this movie back in January, I think it was, I had to pause the TV and look, because I thought it was actual footage of Harley Race himself, and it isn't. There isn't Harley Race in that movie. So the casting on him, spot on. I haven't got his name to hand, but the casting on him is spot on. But
I agree. The I've met Mr. Harley Race before he passed away.
Wow.
I do have his autograph on a piece. He used to do little promotions here in Missouri, and spot on his character. The gentleman who played him, again, I don't know his name either, but spot on for sure. I could close my eyes and see Harley Race standing there talking. So
I genuinely thought it was him. I thought it was like actual footage that they'd got from the archives or something. I thought, wow.
Yes, definitely.
It's amazing.